A white bank manager contacts authorities regarding a black child. Left speechless upon the arrival of his mother. The CEO. I did not take anything that does not belong to me. This is my financial asset. 13-year-old Kayla Johnson stood at the customer service counter, her voice quivering with frustration as she made her plea. Meanwhile, bank manager Linda Collins regarded the young black girl with a look of disdain, her expression revealing her disapproval. A young woman like you possessing such wealth? I have my doubts about that. It is likely that you have taken something from another person. Jessica's eyes brimmed with tears as the weight of humiliation washed over her. This was intended to be straightforward. She was simply attempting to establish her first checking account. Please, I just want to call my mom, she pleaded. Sharon regarded the situation with a chilling sense of satisfaction. Reserve that for the authorities. I won't be swayed by your emotional appeal. She swiftly picked up the phone and made the call. Yes, I require officers without delay. A young thief is attempting to deposit illicitly obtained funds. However, Linda Collins was completely unaware that she had just committed the most significant error of her professional journey. In under an hour, she would uncover the true identity of Jessica's mother. In that moment, her entire world shattered. The events that followed revealed not only Sharon's startling racism but also a secret so profound that it transformed everything. Before we dive into the story, if you stand firmly against racism and prejudice, please click the subscribe button, type yes, and share your location in the comments below. Rest assured, you will receive a response from us. On a vibrant Tuesday afternoon, 13-year-old Kayla Johnson radiated excitement as she disembarked from the city bus in the heart of downtown. Today stands out as a remarkable occasion. Today marks the moment she will demonstrate to her mother that she possesses the responsibility required to manage her own banking affairs. For weeks, Jessica meticulously orchestrated this moment. She conducted thorough research on various account types available online, prepared her dialogue for the bank representative, and even practiced her confident entrance through those glass doors. This extended beyond merely establishing a checking account. This marked a significant moment of independence, maturity, and her initial foray into the adult world. Kayla Johnson inhabited a realm that remained a distant fantasy for most teenagers. Each day commenced in a grand mansion situated within the prestigious Hillcrest Estates, where impeccably maintained lawns extended endlessly into the horizon. She enrolled at Westfield Preparatory Academy, an institution where tuition exceeded the annual salary of many, and her primary focus was on upholding her flawless 4.0 GPA. What set Jessica apart from her affluent peers was something truly unique. She was completely unaware of the true extent of her family's wealth. Her mother had intentionally nurtured her to perceive their situation as merely comfortable. Jessica opted for the bus to school rather than being driven in luxury cars. She frequented conventional stores rather than high-end boutiques. She received her allowance through diligent completion of chores and by upholding excellent academic performance. This meticulously crafted ordinary existence was not a mere coincidence. Dr. Celeste Monroe understood from her own upbringing that immense wealth could serve as both a blessing and a burden. She recalled the unrelenting scrutiny, the incessant photography, and the judgment that accompanied her status as the heir to the Rodriguez banking empire. Upon Jessica's arrival into the world, Angela made a pivotal decision that would profoundly influence her daughter's perspective on life. She would instill in Jessica the importance of hard work and humility long before she ever discovered the family's true power. As Jessica entered First National Bank that afternoon, she held an envelope containing $800 in birthday money from her grandmother Rodriguez, funds that symbolized months of diligent saving and thoughtful birthday presents. Within her backpack, she carried her savings account statements, reflecting a total of $1,200 amassed from allowances, holiday gifts, and modest rewards for her academic accomplishments. To Jessica, this seemed like a stroke of luck. For her family, it was merely a small sum. The bank's lobby thrummed with the usual afternoon bustle. Business professionals in tailored suits moved briskly between teller windows, while elderly customers waited patiently in the VIP section, and the gentle murmur of financial discussions permeated the atmosphere. Jessica inhaled deeply, adjusted her school uniform, and confidently approached the customer service desk. a reflection of her experience of always being treated with value and respect. Jessica approached the nearest teller window, her bright smile radiating warmth as she held tightly to her envelope filled with birthday money and her backpack brimming with important documents. The nameplate positioned on the counter displayed the name, Emily Harper, customer service representative. Jennifer glanced away from her computer screen, and her demeanor changed instantly upon noticing the young black girl standing at her window. Her warm smile vanished, giving way to an expression of disdain and skepticism. "What is it that you seek?" Jennifer inquired with a chilling tone, her voice laced with disdain as she scrutinized Jessica from head to toe as if she were an unwelcome sight. "Hello. Good afternoon," Jessica remarked with a cheerful tone, striving to uphold her positive demeanor in the face of the woman's clear rudeness. "I would like to initiate the process of opening my first checking account. Please, I am truly enthusiastic about this opportunity." Jennifer emitted a sharp, derisive laugh. "Is this for real at this moment? This institution is a legitimate bank, not merely a community center. We carefully evaluate each individual before granting access to our accounts." Jessica's smile started to wane. "I am 13 years old and possess all the necessary documentation. I have been diligently saving for this moment." 13? Jennifer interjected with a disdainful expression. "It seems likely that your funds may have come from illicit activities such as drug sales or theft. That is typically the way children like you earn money in this area." Jessica experienced a sudden shock, as if she had been struck unexpectedly. "Do children appreciate my presence? I am unclear about this. I attend Westfield Prep. This is a birthday gift from my grandmother." "Of course it is," Jennifer replied with a hint of sarcasm. "What is Westfield Prep?" "Indeed, it seems you may have acquired that uniform through questionable means as well. I am fully aware of the type of neighborhood you hail from. And it is certainly not one that typically sends children to prestigious schools. I am currently reaching out to my manager to address this situation. She possesses a keen understanding of how to engage with individuals such as yourself." With a flourish, Jennifer picked up her phone and dialed, "Sharon, please proceed to window 3 without delay. We have an individual from the city attempting to deceive us with questionable currency." "Indeed, this aligns perfectly with what we discussed in our staff meeting. She is becoming increasingly confrontational and drawing attention to herself." In a matter of moments, bank manager Linda Collins arrived at the teller window, prepared to address what Jennifer had characterized as a standard urban troublemaker scenario. She lifted her gaze from the paperwork. Her gaze swiftly landed on Jessica, a young black girl positioned in the immaculate lobby, and a chill of calculation flickered across her expression. The friendly, polished smile she usually offered to customers was noticeably absent. "Isn't it time for you to be in school, young lady?" Sharon's initial remarks lacked warmth and support. They were quick to cast accusations, laden with an air of distrust. Jessica blinked, momentarily surprised by the sharp tone. Yet she upheld her courteous composure. "I have obtained permission from both my school and my parents. I made arrangements to leave early specifically for this appointment." She delved into her backpack and retrieved a signed permission slip from her school counselor. Yet Sharon hardly acknowledged the document. She focused intently on the envelope that Jessica had set on the counter. As Jessica revealed the neatly stacked bills, Sharon's expression grew even more somber. "That is quite a substantial amount of money for someone at your age. Could you please share the source of this information?" The inquiry felt more like an interrogation than a customer service interaction. Jessica experienced the initial stirrings of uncertainty in her stomach. What was the reason behind this woman's hostility? Within her protected environment, the notion of wealth had never been a subject of scrutiny. "The funds consist of birthday money generously given by my grandmother, along with some savings I had been keeping at home. Upon opening my checking account, my intention was to deposit the entire amount." Sharon's laughter was piercing and devoid of humor. "I find that difficult to accept. It is uncommon for grandmothers to provide $800 in cash to a 13-year-old. The accusation struck Jessica with the force of a physical blow. She had never experienced her honesty being called into question, nor had she encountered such overt skepticism. Yet it is indeed true. She consistently presents thoughtful and generous gifts for birthdays. I can present to you the card she inscribed along with it." Jessica rummaged through her backpack and retrieved a stunning birthday card adorned with her grandmother's elegant handwriting. However, Sharon dismissed it with a wave, not even glancing at the card. Writing a card is a task that anyone can undertake. There is a possibility that all of these are fabricated. Sharon waved her hand dismissively, indicating Jessica's meticulously organized documentation. In a striking 40-story office building across town, Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams occupied the boardroom of Williams Financial Group, oblivious to the fact that her daughter's safeguarded reality was on the verge of disintegration. Angela found herself engaged in a pivotal discussion regarding a significant acquisition deal alongside 5 other executives. A dialogue that seamlessly navigated the complexities of millions of dollars. For 13 years, Angela meticulously crafted an impeccable double life. Within the realm of business, she was recognized as Angela Rodriguez, the exceptional CEO who transformed her family's already thriving financial empire by venturing into new markets. She graced the covers of financial magazines, while business schools highlighted her innovative strategies and case studies, earning the respect of competitors for her astute decision-making. In her personal life, she was just Angela Williams, the devoted mother of Jessica. She navigated the routine of carpooling, participated in parent-teacher conferences, and concerned herself with the everyday challenges of teenage life, such as homework and friendships. She embraced her married name in social settings, resided in a lovely yet unpretentious home, and made remarkable efforts to guarantee that Jessica's upbringing was as ordinary as possible. This dual identity transcended mere privacy, it was fundamentally about safeguarding oneself. Angela recalled the challenges of her upbringing as part of banking royalty. The relentless scrutiny, and the distinct shift in how people interacted with her upon discovering her last name. She was resolute in her belief that Jessica should cultivate her own character, establish her own values, and foster her own sense of self-worth prior to discovering the significant power and responsibility that would eventually be entrusted to her. Upon returning to the bank, Jessica found herself grappling with a profound sense of culture shock in the moment. She made another attempt to present Sharon with her school identification, birth certificate, and savings account statements from the same bank. Yet Sharon's hostility only grew stronger. "Listen, dear," Sharon remarked, her tone laced with condescension. "It's quite unusual for someone like you to be seen carrying this amount of money. To be honest, with 2 decades of experience in the banking sector, I possess a keen ability to identify suspicious activity when it arises." The words struck Jessica with the force of a slap. "Women are drawn to you." She had encountered those words in films and news reports, yet she never envisioned they would be aimed at her. Within her insulated environment, she had been shielded from the stark truths of racial prejudice, and now it was confronting her with undeniable intensity. "I would greatly appreciate your assistance in opening an account," Jessica inquired, her voice starting to tremble as confusion and pain began to surface. "I am struggling to comprehend the reasons behind your unkind behavior towards me. I simply wish to bank here, just like everyone else." However, Sharon had reached her conclusion. The convergence of her prejudices, resentments, and newfound power created a toxic blend that obscured her vision, leaving her solely focused on her own biases. "I have my doubts about that. I have strong reasons to believe that this money may be illicitly obtained. And I refuse to be involved in any scheme you might be orchestrating." Jessica's voice started to reveal a sense of desperation. "It has not been taken unlawfully. I kindly request that you reach out to my mother. She will be able to provide a comprehensive explanation of the situation. She also utilizes this bank. Angela Williams is her name." Sharon narrowed her eyes. "Good effort. We need to clarify the source of this money before you make any calls. It seems to me that you are collaborating with adults who believed that a child would attract less attention in this situation." Sharon was unaware that a simple search for Angela Williams in the bank's computer system would have revealed a modest checking account held by a local parent, precisely as Jessica had stated. However, Sharon did not take the time to verify. She had already reached her decision. As Jessica remained in place, a sense of diminishment and vulnerability enveloped her with every fleeting moment, drawing the attention of other patrons within the bank. While some appeared uneasy with Sharon's clearly antagonistic behavior towards a young girl, no one chose to voice their concerns. In that moment, Jessica came to understand a harsh reality about the world: that individuals could observe injustice unfold before them and choose to remain passive rather than take action. The irony was truly remarkable. Kayla Johnson stood there, the granddaughter of the esteemed Rodriguez banking dynasty and the daughter of a prominent financial executive, facing treatment akin to that of a criminal in a bank that her family's wealth had contributed to building and sustaining for decades. However, Linda Collins was unaware of that fact. In her thoughts, she believed she was safeguarding the bank from an emerging scam artist. In truth, she was on the verge of jeopardizing her own career by pursuing the wrong family. As the tension in the bank lobby mounted, Jessica sensed her meticulously crafted reality starting to unravel. For the first time in her life, she was encountering what countless other young Black Americans experience on a regular basis: the assumption of guilt, the scrutiny of their legitimacy, and the relentless obligation to demonstrate their value to those who had already concluded they were unworthy. Unbeknownst to those within the bank, a profound transformation was imminent, set to unfold in mere moments. Jessica's mother was on the verge of receiving a text message that would elevate her from a worried parent to an unstoppable avenging force. Linda Collins was on the verge of discovering that those she underestimated often possess a level of power beyond her wildest imagination. Have you ever experienced discrimination based on your appearance? Subscribe now and share your experience with others. Your insights could serve as inspiration for someone in need. Jessica positioned herself at the counter, her hands trembling as she retrieved each piece of identification she had brought along. The school ID from Westfield Preparatory Academy features her smiling photograph, the birth certificate that her mother had meticulously laminated years prior. The statements from her savings account at this bank reflect deposits and withdrawals over the past 3 years. Jessica arranged the documents on the counter as if she were dealing cards in a high-stakes game where her freedom hung in the balance. "Please," she implored, her voice quivering with urgency. "Take a moment to examine these. They demonstrate my identity. They demonstrate that this is my money." However, Linda Collins regarded those documents with an expression akin to that of someone examining refuse. She didn't bother to pick them up for a proper examination. Instead, she shook her head in disdain and uttered the words that would ultimately determine her destiny. "These are likely fabricated as well. A 13-year-old without employment is unlikely to possess this amount of money unless it was acquired from another individual." That was the moment Jessica reached her breaking point. The burden of injustice, confusion, and fear descended upon her all at once. Tears began to flow down her cheeks as the weight of reality settled in. The woman had no intention of offering her assistance. This woman had formed a judgment of Jessica's guilt even before she had the chance to utter a single word. "Please," Jessica sobbed, "I would like to reach out to my mother. She is capable of providing comprehensive explanations for all topics." However, Sharon's reaction unveiled the profound extent of her prejudiced views. She leaned in closer, her voice lowering to a menacing whisper as she uttered something so repugnant that nearby customers gasped in shock. "Your mother likely directed you here for the purpose of laundering illicit funds. I have encountered this situation previously with individuals similar to you. Individuals appreciate your presence." Once more, it made its presence known. Jessica experienced a sensation akin to being struck in the abdomen. At the age of 13, she began to understand that some individuals would glance at her skin color and instantly form negative assumptions about her and her family. Jessica's sobs grew more intense, rendering her almost speechless as tears streamed down her face. "I kindly request permission to call her. Kindly make just one phone call. If you would." However, Sharon had firmly decided what her next steps would be. Rather than exhibiting any semblance of compassion and denying a frightened child the opportunity to contact her parents, Sharon picked up the phone, a pleased smile gracing her features. With a voice that carried across the bank, she declared, "I'm calling the police. This individual is evidently engaged in fraudulent or thieving activities, and I refuse to be swayed by her insincere displays of emotion." As Sharon called 911, Jessica understood that she might have a single opportunity to contact her mother. As Sharon engaged in conversation with the police dispatcher, Jessica discreetly retrieved her phone. Her fingers trembling slightly, she typed with urgency, her tears blurring her vision of the screen. "Mom, I'm at First National Bank. and the manager has contacted the police regarding my presence here. She claims that I took the money and is preventing me from contacting you. I feel apprehensive." As Sharon concluded her call, she caught sight of Jessica hitting send. "Please hand me that phone." Sharon reacted swiftly, lunging forward to seize it. But the message had already been dispatched. The signal traversed cell towers throughout the city, making its way to a boardroom nestled within a shimmering skyscraper, where Jessica's mother was engaged in what she believed to be yet another ordinary business meeting. Dr. Celeste Monroe occupied the prominent position at the head of an expansive mahogany conference table located on the 42nd floor of the Williams Financial Group building. Surrounding her were 5 of the most influential bank executives in the state. Individuals who wielded control over billions of dollars and made decisions that impacted countless lives on a daily basis. During their quarterly review, as they delved into discussions about profit margins and market projections, Angela's phone buzzed on the table beside her. She cast a quick look and noticed Jessica's name displayed on the screen. Angela established a dedicated emergency contact for Jessica, ensuring that communication would always be prioritized, even amidst crucial meetings. However, Angela never anticipated that she would need to utilize it. Jessica was expected to be at school, followed by a visit to the bank for what was intended to be a straightforward routine transaction. Angela reached for her phone and glanced at the message. The room filled with influential executives observed as the most poised and collected woman they knew underwent a transformation that was truly unsettling to behold. A look of confusion crossed her face as she endeavored to comprehend the text before her. As the significance became clear, confusion transformed into astonishment. Ultimately, shock evolved into a far more perilous force. Unadulterated, frigid fury. The temperature in the boardroom appeared to plummet by 10 degrees. Angela's expression transformed into a facade of restrained anger, prompting those seated at the table to instinctively lean back in their chairs. "Gentlemen," Angela said, her voice so soft and measured that it carried a chilling intensity, more frightening than any scream could convey. "The meeting has concluded. A significant error has just occurred." She rose so suddenly that her chair skidded backward and collided with the wall. The 5 executives, accustomed to commanding attention as the most significant figures in any setting, suddenly found themselves feeling diminutive and anxious. "Excuse me, is everything okay, ma'am?" inquired Thomas Chen, the senior vice president who had been delivering the quarterly figures. Angela made her way to the door, her phone held in one hand while her car keys were visible in the other. "My daughter has just been arrested by an individual at First National Bank." The ensuing silence was profoundly overwhelming. Every individual present in that room was fully aware of the identity of Angela Rodriguez Williams. They were aware of her family's banking empire. They were aware of her individual net worth. In that moment, it became clear to everyone that an individual at First National had potentially committed the most costly error in the annals of banking. As Angela walked, she was rapidly dialing numbers, her heels striking the marble floor with a sharp, echoing sound. Initially, her personal attorney, Samuel Park, stands out as one of the most formidable lawyers in the state. Her head of security, Marcus Bell, a former police captain, had been safeguarding the family for 15 years. Ultimately, there was a number she seldom dialed, yet it remained readily accessible, the direct line to Charles Morrison, the chairman of the board of directors at First National Bank. "Donovan," she called to her driver as she entered the elevator. "Please have the car brought around. We are heading to First National Bank." At this moment, at the bank, Jessica found herself experiencing the ultimate nightmare that no parent wishes to face. Within minutes of Sharon's call, 2 police officers arrived and entered the building with predetermined expectations about what awaited them inside. Officer Ryan Blake, a seasoned veteran with 15 years of experience on the force, approached the customer service counter where Jessica was visibly upset, tears streaming down her face. Officer Lila Torres took up a position nearby. Neither party appeared inclined to consider Jessica's perspective on the matter. Sharon explained with evident satisfaction that this girl was attempting to deposit what she suspected to be stolen money. She lacks a credible explanation for its origin, and her behavior has been increasingly suspicious since she entered the room. Jessica struggled to articulate her thoughts as tears streamed down her face. "Officers, I assure you, I can clarify everything. This is my financial asset. I possess all of my identification documents. I would like to initiate the process of opening a checking account." However, Officer Walsh hardly acknowledged her presence. He stated dismissively, "We receive calls about children like this frequently. Young individuals engaged in theft, drug trafficking, and various illicit activities often present narratives about their connections to legitimate sources of income." Jessica was in disbelief at what she was hearing. "Children enjoy this," the identical phrase that Sharon had employed. She began to realize that this issue extended beyond a single racist bank manager. This pertained to a system engineered to operate against individuals who resembled her. "Please," Jessica implored, "just take a moment to look at my identification. I attend Westfield Prep. My mother also banks at this institution. All information can be verified." However, the officers showed little interest in confirming the details. Officer Santos was in the process of retrieving her handcuffs. "Turn around and place your hands behind your back," she instructed authoritatively. Jessica stood still, her body rigid. "Could you please clarify? What is the reason behind this? I did not engage in any wrongdoing." Officer Walsh explained matter-of-factly that you are being detained on suspicion of theft and fraud. "Please share your story at the station." The handcuffs snapped into place around Jessica's wrists, their sound reverberating throughout the expansive bank lobby. Other customers paused their activities and gazed in disbelief. Several individuals took out their phones and began to record. An elderly woman positioned near the teller windows shook her head and murmured softly, "This is incorrect." However, no one came forward to offer assistance. No one insisted that the officers take the time to thoroughly investigate before making an arrest of a 13-year-old girl. Jessica was gaining yet another difficult insight into the workings of the world. Many individuals, even when aware of wrongdoing, often opt for the safety of silence instead of advocating for justice. As the officers escorted Jessica toward the door in handcuffs, Linda Collins remained behind her counter, wearing a satisfied smile. In her thoughts, she had successfully safeguarded her bank from a youthful offender. Unbeknownst to her, she had just irrevocably jeopardized her career and potentially her entire future. However, on the other side of town, an unstoppable force was making its way toward her. Seated in the back of her Bentley, Angela Rodriguez-Williams was making phone calls that would alter the course of events significantly. Her driver, Donovan, navigated through traffic with the urgency of an ambulance in a hurry. In the passenger seat, Angela's head of security was actively coordinating with the bank's board of directors. To witness Linda Collins receive her just desserts, be sure to subscribe immediately, as the impending revenge promises to be nothing short of extraordinary. Just 23 minutes after Jessica dispatched that urgent text message, an extraordinary event unfolded outside First National Bank. A polished black Bentley, its tinted windows so deep they resembled mirrors, glided to a stop at the curb. This was not merely an ordinary luxury vehicle. The license plate displayed RFH001, representing Rodriguez Financial Holdings, a name that would be instantly familiar to anyone within the banking sector. As the car door swung open, Dr. Celeste Monroe emerged onto the sidewalk. She donned a bespoke suit, a remarkable piece of Italian craftsmanship valued at $10, that embraced her form with the precision of armor. Her jewelry exuded a subtle elegance, clearly of high value, while she moved with a confidence that stemmed from a legacy of wealth and undeniable authority. However, Angela was not by herself. From the shadows, Samuel Park appeared, a formidable attorney renowned throughout the state, commanding an hourly rate that surpassed the monthly earnings of many. Following that was Marcus Bell, her head of security and a former police captain, whose presence instantly commanded respect. Additionally, 2 more security personnel were present, exuding an air of capability to manage any situation that could potentially occur. Within the confines of the bank, patrons engaged in their routine activities abruptly halted, their attention drawn to a singular point of interest. The atmosphere was palpably different, as if the air pressure had altered in anticipation of an impending storm. As this formidable entourage approached the entrance, individuals instinctively stepped aside. Even the police officers who had taken Jessica into custody exchanged uneasy glances toward the door. Angela strode through the glass doors, exuding the authoritative aura of someone who possessed dominion over all she beheld. Her heels echoed against the marble floor in a cadence reminiscent of a countdown to Judgment Day. The discussions have ceased. Phones were reduced. Linda Collins stood behind her customer service counter, reveling in what she believed to be her moment of triumph. She had effectively eliminated what she perceived as a disruptive influence from her bank. And she anticipated commendation from her superiors for her attentiveness. As Sharon glanced upward and noticed Angela making her way toward her, she found herself completely unaware of the identity of the person approaching. Although Angela's image had graced the pages of financial magazines and business publications for years, Sharon had never made the connection between that face and Kayla Johnson. Angela Rodriguez was recognized in the banking industry as a formidable CEO. Yet the images that accompanied her reputation were consistently polished headshots taken in corporate environments. Always opt for formal family portraits. She never takes pictures with her daughter. Angela approached Sharon's counter with determination. Her dark eyes locked onto the woman who had threatened her child. Her voice, measured and soft, carried an unsettling intensity that was far more frightening than any scream could have conveyed. "Release my daughter immediately," she demanded. Sharon gazed up at the clearly affluent woman, experiencing a fleeting sense of bewilderment. However, her arrogance swiftly dominated the situation, and she had the nerve to scoff. "Excuse me, but I must bring to your attention that your daughter has been involved in theft. She attempted to deposit illicit funds, and I acted precisely as required. She has already been taken away by the police." Angela delved into her purse and retrieved a business card. This was not merely an ordinary business card. The piece was crafted on premium heavy stock paper, adorned with gold lettering that beautifully reflected the light. She set it on the counter directly in front of Sharon, with the meticulousness of a strategist positioning a chess piece for checkmate. "I'm Dr. Celeste Monroe," she stated with a composed demeanor. "My family is associated with Rodriguez Financial Holdings.